Hi, I'm Eric Lenask. We are here in San Jose, California this week for the TMC Roadshow, and I'm talking with Kevin Payne from Intelleflex. Kevin, thanks for joining me.
Thank you, Eric. Nice to be here.
So, Intelleflex, who are you? What do you do? We talked a little bit about, you're going to show us a little product.
I'm going to show you a little product.
What do you do?
We provide actionable data for the intelligent supply chain. The underlying technology is a new standards-based RFID product. This is an RFID tag that's also a temperature monitor. And one of the markets we play in is the fresh fruit, produce, packaged foods, frozen foods industry. And maybe you've had the experience where you perhaps bought some strawberries or raspberries at your favorite grocery store, and you bring them home and you put them in the refrigerator, and the next morning you go to have breakfast, you open the refrigerator up and they're all white and moldy. This is an example of food that didn't have enough shelf life left when it got to the retailer. So what we can do is put these tags in the package when they are packed and picked in the field, and follow it all the way through to the packing house, and collect the temperature data off this using wireless RFID readers. And then that information can be used to calculate the relative remaining shelf life. And so they can prioritize routing. Packages that have more shelf life can go further distances, packages with less shelf life can go closer distances, to make sure that when they get to your favorite grocery store, there's sufficient shelf life left. The result of that is they save money because they're not tossing product that didn't have enough remaining shelf life. So that's one market we play in. Another one is biopharmaceuticals, where you need to manage the temperature throughout the supply chain, identify if there's a potential issue with the temperature, and correct it before you spoil a vaccine or medicine or something like that.
So now, do the devices send information back and forth between the device and the network constantly, or is it something that you monitor when you get to a certain location and collect data out of it?
Good question. So this is a passive RFID tag. So it waits for a reader to signal it, and then it backscatters or reflects the energy. So any point along the supply chain where you have a reader, typically at a transaction point, where it's coming off a truck, coming onto a dock, something like that, where you can make a decision that affects your supply chain, is where you typically read the tag. These will, however, record the temperature every minute, every 5 minutes, every 15 minutes, whatever you want to set it for. It has 60 kilobits of memory on it, so it can store 3,600 data records. It's also great for track and traceability, in case you may have heard about all the E. coli, salmonella kinds of issues. This provides an electronic traceability record, so it makes it much faster to identify where products came from, where they've been, where they're going, in the event you do have to do a recall. So you get potentially tainted food off the market much more quickly.
And what about a situation where you want to be constantly monitoring, whether it's a location or some other metric? Is that an area that you play in as well? Or?
Yeah, well, so a good question. An example of that would be what's called timeout of refrigeration at hospitals. So you have a vaccine, it's temperature sensitive, it's checked out of the pharmacy, it goes to a ward where a nurse or a doctor is going to administer it to somebody. They leave the container out on a shelf. The temperature starts to go up. It could get left there and the entire tray could spoil. What you can do is build this actually into the tray. It can send alerts that says the temperature is starting to climb, locate this tray, get it back into refrigeration. And therefore you can salvage that product instead of wasting it. And that's potentially $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 worth of vaccines that you can salvage.
So just by having a little extra information, you're allowing these different enterprises to save significant amounts of money. Are there other types of businesses, other verticals that you also play in?
There's some interest from retail where they want to take and manage and track what kind of preferences you have as a customer. You come into a store. So for example, if you're a brick and mortar store and you want to compete with an online vendor, having more information that can help tailor the shopping experience for the customer is another potential market. We're seeing a lot of interest from people who are looking for mustering applications. So for example, oil rigs, oil refineries, gas refineries, places like that, where people would have like a normal little badge tag. In the case of an explosion, they're not going to take and card out as they're leaving the on-fire refinery. So you can use a badge tag with this type of RFID to track and identify if people are still in a facility, if they've all met at a gathering point or something like that. So there's a lot of applications for that, as well as just tracking high-value assets.
So you've talked really about sort of the check-in, check-out kind of mechanism, temperature monitoring. Are there other metrics that you leverage as well?
The tag can basically support a variety of different types of condition sensors. So the other common ones are humidity, light, shock, vibration. We'll be adding those in over time.
How do you go to market? How do you get to
all
your customers?
through channels. We work with software vendors, system integrators, software developers. They typically specialize in the vertical that we're working in, so they're food specialists or pharmaceutical specialists, or they deal with supply chain and things like that, and those are our partners.
Well, the next time I get some spoiled raspberries, I'll be sure to have them call you.
Thank you.
Kevin, it's been a pleasure.
My
Thanks
pleasure.
for joining us.
Thank you very much.